Ever feel like your dating life is a sequel no one asked for? You're out there choosing the same type of person in a different pair of shoes. It's like your heart keeps swiping right on déjà vu. But hey, maybe it's not just them. Maybe it's Tao time. Hi, I'm Haim with Be Love Media, and I'm passionate about the connection, the interconnection between how to choose the proper mate for you, maybe the perfect soulmate for you, based on the ancient wisdom of the Tao Te Ching and other spiritual ancient wisdoms. This video is going to focus on verse 5 out of the 81 poetic verses of the Tao Te Ching, something I've grown to admire, love, and guide my life best I can based on those amazing poems with a huge grain of wisdom in them. If you're ready to stop dating your karmic clones and start aligning with a deeper love, hit that subscribe button and give this video a like. Your future self will thank you. Let's flow with the Tao instead of tripping over red flags and flip-flops. So let's start with the verse 5. Verse 5 of the Tao Te Ching. Heaven and earth are impartial. They treat all things as straw dogs. The sage is impartial. He treats all people as straw dogs. Before I go into the 5 nuggets, the 5 key points I want to share with you from this verse, and at the end I promise if you stick around you'll get a few nuggets of wisdom, practical life skills that can help you make less mistakes and choose better in life when it comes to romantic relationships. I want to explain what straw dogs, the concept of straw dogs that's mentioned here is about. So Tao Te Ching was written 2,600 years ago by Lao Tzu, and obviously those ancient poems, that wisdom was carved out of the reality of those times, ancient times, 2,500 millennia ago. And straw dogs was a spiritual worshipping instrument that was used back then in ancient China for their spiritual ceremonies. But here it is mentioned as something that on one hand, it could be very spiritual, very elevated when it is used in a spiritual ceremony, such as they used to do back then in ancient China. At the end of the day, though, it's just made of straw, and it's, once it's accomplished its role in the spiritual ceremony, it's basically worth nothing, right? It has no value. You can't eat it, you can't do anything with it, you can't use it for anything else outside of the ceremony. So the Tao treats all things as straw dogs means it treats all things as equal. It doesn't elevate one, it doesn't denigrate another. And so should the sage be. So should the sage treats all beings. So what can we get out of it? Impartiality is power. Don't let infatuation cloud your vision. The Tao reminds us to be neutral, to observe before we attach. In love, this means seeing someone as they are, not as you want them to be. And how many times did we go into relationships, met somebody who was charming, who was cool, who was exciting, had the right profession, had the right hairdo, and we're like, oh wow, that would be perfect for me for being in a relationship with this person. If only they wouldn't do this, they wouldn't be that way, right? We want to eventually change them. Well, good luck with that one. How did that work out with us whenever we tried that? Now, that doesn't mean there's no potential in relationships, but don't go into it by making them to someone who they're not. That's not fair to anybody. Nugget number 2, don't overvalue or undervalue. Straw dogs, as I said, were ceremonial objects, honored and then discarded. The Tao isn't telling us to be cold, it's saying don't idolize. Your partner or your candidate for partnership shouldn't be your everything or your nothing. 3, Equanimity over emotion whiplash. A grounded partner isn't reactive. You want someone who, like the sage, maintains balance, not someone who flips tables during arguments or brunch. I have a good example for you on that one. In my previous relationship, which, full disclosure, was my third marriage and ultimately third divorce. Before I met the love of my life, who I'm married to now, Rachel, who is my best friend and truly my everything. I know we said don't let it be everything, but hey, I got lucky with that one. So the example that I want to bring up is when I was in the previous relationship, at one point my ex-partner came to me and said, oh my God, I lost my favorite necklace. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do. I have to find it. It's my favorite. I have so much sentiment to it, so much sentimental value. And I could see the anxiety in her presence, right? I mean, after all, with all due respect, it's just a necklace. You can replace it. Maybe you'll find it. No point in freaking out. But okay, she was attached. I gave her my best advice. And I said, all will be well. Just relax. You know, it's not worth to be anxious over. Sure enough, 3 days later, she finds it. And long story short, she came back home and, oh my God, I found it. I'm so excited. I'm so happy. And at the time I was present to, oh my God, it's a disaster when she loses it. And it's the biggest victory in life when she finds it. It's exhausting, right? It's exhausting to be such, and it's exhausting to be with somebody like that. So, point taken. In hindsight, of course, sight is vision is 2020. But that was something that had red flags in the beginning of the relationship too, when we just started dating several years before that incident. Something to consider. Do I want to be with somebody who, you know, is so devastated when little things like that happen, and is so uplifted when it's reversed? Maybe there's some way in the middle to be. Number 4, natural flow over forced expectation. Heaven and earth operate with calm rhythm. So should relationships. If it always feels like hard work just to be heard, you're not with someone who honors the Tao in love. Again, some level of calmness you want to be having in life in general. I know sometimes we get excited, the ups and downs happens, but can we learn? Can we develop that skill of equanimity and calm demeanor versus the highs and the lows, emotional highs and lows? And if we get to that point, to that blissful point that we are chill about life, maybe we can also find somebody who's such as well. It just makes relationship more enjoyable, doesn't it? And more and less dramatic. And that's the other point. Creating a relationship, attracting a relationship that is not so dramatic. That's what we have soap operas for. We don't necessarily need our life to be like that. Last key point from this verse: presence over possession. The sage doesn't cling. The right partner won't need to control or be controlled. Love isn't ownership. It's shared presence. One example I can bring from my previous relationship that was rich in examples, unfortunately, but taught me a lot, so I'm grateful for that, is the idea of the desire to control and my inability to not be controlled. Basically, it was kind of like a relationship that, psychologically speaking, by some psychological theories, is represented as the controller and the victim. Unfortunately, I was the victim. And it is when that person would make a request for me, it was actually a demand. So for example, hey, I need you to, could you please go pick up some item from my mom, right? Back then, my mother-in-law. And I said, well, actually, I would love to, but I can't because I have this thing going on, right? And then the response, instead of being, oh, okay, no worries, I'll figure something else out, or can you pick it up tomorrow instead? It would be, what do you mean? Can't you just do it? Right? So was it really a request or was it a demand? It was presented as a request, but really it was a demand, wasn't it? And then how do I deal with that? Do I set some boundaries and enforce them? Or do I just fall in that trap and create a vicious cycle of, sure, I'll do whatever you want, honey? Not always very healthy. Because where are my needs in that? Well, thank you for sticking around all the way to here. So I want, as promised, to give you 5 practical pieces of advice when searching for a partner, the Tao Te Ching style. Pause before passion. Take time to observe who someone really is before giving your heart. Rushing love is like a microwaving wisdom. It won't come out right. 2, ask, am I being neutral? Are you seeing this person clearly, or are you filling in gaps with your hopes and projections? 3, choose balance over drama. If peace makes you bored and chaos excites you, it's time to retrain your heart. Seek the quiet thunder of alignment, not the loud crash of chemistry. With all due respect to passion, life could be a long, fun journey when you don't choose drama over a more peaceful life, peaceful partnership. 4, let go of control. You can't fix, change, or force someone to be the one. Flow like the Tao. Let people show you who they are without clinging to an outcome. And lastly, keep a sense of humor. Life is strange. Love even more so. Laugh often, especially when things don't go as planned. Tao loves a good cosmic giggle. If this video gave you a little insight, or at least made you question why your last 3 exes all had the same astrologic sign, hit that like button, drop a comment, share it with your favorite confused friend, and subscribe to the channel. Remember, the Tao flows best when you stop chasing and start dancing. Stay light, stay loving, and for heaven's sake, stop dating straw dogs in human costumes. Peace and giggles, my true lovers.